Hello, peers, parents. Welcome to session 12. So today's session, or Friday session, we're going to be talking about handling disagreements. So there are right ways and wrong ways to handle disagreements. Disagreements for many of our participants and for most people naturally happen in friendships, and the way we go about disagreements can really affect our friendships. So if we know the right way to handle a disagreement when it comes up, it will be better as we engage in our friendships. And if we handle disagreements in wrong ways, it can seriously affect our friendships. So today we're going to talk about different ways to handle disagreements. There's two sides to handling disagreements, as you see here. So we're going to talk about responding to a disagreement, and then we're going to talk about bringing up a disagreement. So there are two very different parts of a disagreement. One is reactive, and one is how you approach a topic of disagreement. Okay, so how should you respond to a disagreement if your friend is upset, and what would be the wrong way to respond? So we're going to start our lesson with responding to disagreements. There's a lot of slides in this week's lesson, so I'm going to skim through a bunch of them. There's 50 slides that we're going to be going over with our participants, so they're going to get a lot of content. And then you have steps broken down in your parent handout. Your steps are particularly, I think, relating to responding to disagreements, not as much as bringing up a disagreement. So we're going to ask you, when you review the session afterwards with your participant, that you really ask them those pointed questions. They're very similar. I'm going to show you the steps in our video today. And then a big part of the homework is going to be, reviewing those and making sure that those are clear. So here are the steps for responding to a disagreement. You have to follow all of these steps through. So throughout our session this week, we're going to have, our videos. We're going to bring back Elena, and we're going to attach those, or they are attached to your weekly email so you can review them. But they're going to be videos that show you what handling a disagreement looks like when not all of these steps are followed through. So when you only do part of them and don't follow them all the way through, and then we're going to show what it looks like and how much better it is when we follow all of these steps. So there's 6 steps that we're going to review in how to respond to a disagreement. So step 1, we're going to keep our cool. We're not going to be super reactive. We're going to take our time. We're going to listen. We have some steps in how to do that and what that looks like. Hear out your friend first before you're reactive. Repeat what your friend said so that they know that you've heard them and you've got it correct. Explain your side using I statements, so not blaming with you statements. Say you're sorry, always apologize, and what the proper way of saying you're sorry looks like, not just sorry. Is the word sorry enough? We're going to go into discussion about that, and then try to solve the problem. So we're going to make sure we get to a resolution. I'm going to skim through these, so we're going to review all of these things. Keeping your cool, we're going to go into detail, what that looks like, listening to your friends, what that looks like, how you show them, watching a video, you'll have this in the email, repeating what your friend said and what the problem could be if you don't do that. Another video, explain your side of the story using I statements. And then how to apologize. And like I said, here, is it enough to just say, I'm sorry? So recognize specifically what you're sorry for. I'm sorry you're upset. I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. You have this in your parent handout. It's outlined for you. And then number 6, solve the problem. Okay, so why would it be important to try to solve the problem during a disagreement? And what could be the problem with not trying to solve the problem during the disagreement? We will discuss all of this in detail, so make sure you ask your participants after the session about this and how it went, and to elaborate on those steps you have in your parent handout. So some examples of solving the problem: tell them what you'll do differently again. I'll try not to do that again. I'll be more careful next time. Ask them what they want you to do. What can I do to make it up to you? And suggest what you want them to do. I'd appreciate it if you let me know next time if this happens. So it's really not one-sided and you're both hearing each other out. And then we'll have a nice example. We have the video there linked for you of what the proper way to respond to a disagreement through and through following all 6 steps looks like. All right. So I'm going to talk about this one. So we're going to talk about what, happens. Where is this one? You may need to agree to disagree. So that's what I want to bring up. So if you can't solve the problem, sometimes we just can't solve the problem. So we'll try our best to follow all of those 6 steps and solve the problem. And there are cases realistically when you can't solve the problem. So, keep your cool and you may need to agree to disagree. So before you do this though, make sure you follow all 6 steps. And by the end of the 6 steps, if there's still not a solution to the problem, we're going to keep our cool and agree to disagree. And we're going to review what that looks like as well. Okay, and then the second half of today's session is going to be bringing up disagreements. Okay, so how do you bring up a disagreement and what would be the wrong way to bring up a disagreement? So there's 8 steps in this process. So wait for the right time and place. So make sure it's a good time to bring up a disagreement. We'll review what that is. Number 2, just like the first part, keep your cool. Ask to speak privately. Don't bring it up in public. Explain your side using I statements. Again, you're not approaching it with blame. Listen to your friend. So they're going to have, a response to you. Listen to them. Repeat what your friend said. Tell them what you need to do. So you approach this with a need. So what is your need? What do you need to do differently next time? And then try to solve the problem. So we'll discuss that. So, what's the right time and place? So we're going to review some good times and places and some bad times and places. So, when you're alone in privacy, when you are calm, when you have time to talk and it will be uninterrupted. Bad places in public where others can hear, when you're both upset, when you are busy. And then keep your cool. What does it look like to keep your cool? How can you keep your cool? Just like our first part. And then ask to speak privately. We'll review how you ask to speak privately. Can I talk to you about something in private? I need to speak to you about something. Can we speak privately? So we'll review and discuss some ways to ask that. Number 4, explain your side using I statements and not placing the blame. What those I statements look like. We'll give some examples. We'll take time to review those. Listen to your friend. Like, what could happen if you don't listen to your friend? How do you show your friend that you're listening? Similar to responding. Repeat what your friend said. So again, show that you're hearing them. Make sure you tell them what you need. So I need you to give me a chance to explain. I need you to listen to what I'm saying. Could you give me a chance to explain how I'm feeling? So tell them why they're there and what you need them to do. And then in the end, try to solve the problem. Okay, so if they have examples, if they have not repeated what you said and you do not feel heard, you can use these sentences. Can you see this from my perspective? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand why I'm upset? So you're looking for them to show you that they've heard what you're saying, and then we're going to come up with a way to solve the problem afterwards, okay? So here's some different ways to solve the problem and tell them what you'll do differently. Ask them what they want you to do. Again, make it 2-sided. This isn't all about you. Handling disagreements well means, giving both parties a fair chance and equal chance to be a part of this discussion and have their say. Suggest what you want them to do. So that was a very quick review of session 12, but it's a lot of steps to go over. So really take time in your homework after this session to sit down and ask those pointed questions to your participant, ask them what they got out of it. We can review more in our parent session after the lesson. And you have more videos to watch this part, bringing up disagreements of what it would look like. Okay, so additional rules, keep your cool if you can't solve the problem. Again, the same as responding. You may need to agree to disagree, but make sure you follow all the steps first. And then remember, friendship's a choice. So if you are in a friendship where there's constant disagreements and you cannot come to a solution with this friend over and over, maybe that's not a good friendship. This is a good time to assess, maybe this is not a good choice of a friendship. Okay, if we have time, we're going to take time to practice. We'll do lots of practice in between because this is a lot of information that we are giving out in the session. And then we'll review the homework. So like I said before, so you have the homework in your parent handout. I'm just going to review it here from the slides today. We're going to practice handling a disagreement so they can practice with a sibling, they can practice with you. Most important thing is review those steps and make sure that they've got a really good idea of what those two different sides looks like. Responding to a disagreement and bringing up a disagreement and what following all those steps means. Practice what we learned about physical bullying. So practice with a peer or sibling if it comes up and discuss how to handle physical bullying, just really repeating that information and ensuring we know how to go about these situations. Practice changing your reputation. So like we talked about last session, if your reputation is, causing you rejection, maybe you should consider changing your reputation. And what are those steps that we need to take in order to do that? Practice handling teasing. And then we're going to go into our get-togethers to continue practicing those. So we're going to continue to have a get-together with a member of peers. That's working really well for us. So have a phone call to choose a day or time and an activity and plan the get-together using the 5 W's. And then we're going to continue to encourage you to have a get-together with a friend outside of peers. So the same steps, plan your get-together, use the 5 W's, and then have a get-together. And that is our session 12. We only have 3 more sessions, including this coming week, before we have completed the peers program. We look forward to seeing you all this week. If you have any questions, you know where to find your instructors. Please review your parent handout and the videos, and the link to the parent meeting is still in the bottom of our email if you should need it. We'll see you guys on Friday.